Hi everyone, welcome to Health Vibe by Philstar TV. My name is Kai Magsanok, features editor at the Philippine Star. And tulad ninyo, isa rin akong pasyente ng maraming mga sakit. Binuo po namin ng Health Vibe as an advocacy para matulungan po kayo magamit ang platform ng The Philippine Star upang mag-share ng medical information that you need to learn and to know and understand and share. No, we do this to fight misinformation and disinformation. Ang dami po natin, I'm sure lahat po kayo nasa social media at ang dami po natin nakukuhang impormasyon at hindi po lahat ng nagsasalita doon ay totoong eksperto. So speaking of expert, what we have with us today is a person who is known for her work in gastroenterology, and I'm really excited because just a few weeks ago, I had problems with my gut. And I'm still a work in progress. I'm still working on it, actually. So before we proceed with getting to know our doctor, let me introduce her first to you. Dr. Michelle Cloa is a respected leader and trailblazer in the field of gastroenterology with decades of dedicated service in both clinical practice and professional medical organizations. She currently serves as the section head of the Section of Gastroenterology and Digestive Endoscopy and is the founding head of the liver unit at the Manila Doctors Hospital, where she also completed her internship, residency, and fellowship training. Her clinical and academic foundation is rooted in this institution, where she continues to mentor the next generation of medical professionals. An active advocate for nutrition and digestive health, Dr. Cloa is also an active member of the Philippine Society of Gastroenterology Nutrition Council and has held key leadership roles including board member of the Philippine Society of Gastroenterology and president of the Philippine Society of Digestive Endoscopy. In recognition of her contributions to the field and the community, Dr. Cloa was honored as the most outstanding physician by the Philippine Medical Association in 2019. With her unwavering commitment to excellence in digestive health, education, and patient care, Dr. Cloa remains a prominent and inspiring figure in the medical community, and we are super blessed to have her with us today. Doc Michelle, can I call you that?
Yes, Miss Kai, can I call you that also?
Of course. Thank you so much for coming here. I believe everything happens for a reason, and yun nga, totoo yung sinabi ko, no? Kaya we design Health Vibe with empathy to the patient. This is for them. It's our form of public service also.
And from a reliable source.
And from a reliable source such as you and Manila Doctors Hospital. So my first question, Doc, this is always something that I'm curious about with doctors. Why did you choose your field of specialization? So why gastroenterology?
Gastroenterology is not too known by many people, but it's really an exciting and interesting field of medicine because it deals with the entire digestive tract and not just focuses on one organ system. So imagine multiple organs playing together to make your body work. So we are referring to the esophagus, to the stomach, to the intestine, the small and the large, and anything in between like the accessory organs, including the liver and the pancreas and the gallbladder. So it's really a wide discipline.
Yeah.
So it's challenging also to deal with patients with digestive diseases.
Yes, digestive diseases. And kung nanonood po kayo at meron na po kayong nararamdaman sa inyong tiyan o kung saan man dyan na malapit, no, please finish this episode and share it with someone that you think would need it. Yung mga mahilig uminom, yung mga pill poppers dyan, di ba, na gusto nyo maintindihan kung bakit, gaano ba ka-importante ang ating digestive tract. Doktora, if there was one thing you wanted Filipinos to understand about the digestive tract, what is it?
I want the Filipinos to understand the digestive tract is the gateway to your health. So it starts with what you eat. Anything that enters the mouth should be digested properly and excreted lumalabas, no? So, and then we have to take care also of the liver because if we develop liver diseases, this can also cause yellowing of the eyes. It can cause liver cancer. We also aware that many top cancers in the Philippines include the digestive organs, especially the colon, the liver, and then we also have the stomach and pancreatic cancers. We also have gallbladder cancers. So, it is important to be able to connect with a gastroenterologist in your lifetime or at least every year.
At least every year, no?
Yes.
Meron po bang edad yon do? Kasi for example, di ba, for women aged 40 and above, they need to start having their annual mammogram, right? Yung gastro po ba, parang merong edad na when you hit this age, it is a must that annually you need to see a gastroenterologist?
There's really no recommendation as to when you're really going to see a gastroenterologist at what age. But for me personally, at the age of 20s or early 30s, you should be able to see your gastroenterology at least once. And then from then on, we will decide if I'm going to see you how much frequent. But certainly, there are certain diseases that needs to be evaluated further, especially for patients who have high risk of family history for cancer. So, for colon, you need to see your gastroenterologist at the age of 40 or earlier if you have symptoms. Or patients with yung mga nangangasim na all of a sudden matanda ka na and yet bigla nangasim ka. So, these are needs further evaluation. But it does not mean that if you are young that you cannot see a gastroenterologist.
Right.
Especially if you have bothersome symptoms, it affects your life, it affects your daily living, nag-a-absent sa trabaho, punta na po.
Opo, no? And pwede rin doktora, pati mga bata, di ba? Kung laging nagko-complain na masakit ang tiyan.
Yes, and then we disregard that, constipation lang yan, di ba? But you see, the gastroenterologist can really help. One thing also is, I am an advocate for yearly ultrasound also. Because diseases of the liver, gallbladder, it's always nice to have a check of your organs, no? So that you know. It's always nice to know than not to know.
Correct. Because almost all diseases, when diagnosed early, that's much better than finding out too late.
Right.
Right? Okay. Doc, what is one thing based on your observation with your patients, no, that we often get wrong or misunderstand about our digestive tract? Parang ano yung misconception, ano yung maling perception tungkol sa ating digestive system, and ano yung dapat na tamang impormasyon to correct that?
Siguro I can cite 3 things. One is yung, kasi po hindi po, nag-skip po ako ng meals kaya siguro may ulcer ako. O yung diagnosis. Anong bata po ko sinabihin ako na may ulcer. So, another one is, iinom lang ako ng over-the-counter, bibili lang ako sa butika ng para sa acid, okay na ako. And another misconception is, another myth is yung madumi yung bituka ko. Yan. So, addressing yung first, no? Well, skipping meals does not cause ulcer.
Okay.
It can cause yung pangangasim po, but it cannot cause ulcer. And then, ulcer is diagnosed by performing endoscopic procedures. So, dapat masilip. So, when we say upper endoscopy or gastroscopy, we evaluate yung daanan po ng pagkain, yung esophagus, stomach, portion of the small intestine, using an instrument, much like a stethoscope po, na meron siyang camera at ilaw sa dulo. A requirement is for that stomach to be empty for about 5 to 6 hours lang, Miss Kai, kasi may patulog yun. Then, once sleeping, papasok yun sa bibig. So, ang ganda nito, Miss Kai, kasi lahat kita sa TV monitor. So, that's when we see kung meron po kayong ulcer o wala. Then, we check for risk factors. So, H. pylori, baka may mga pain relievers na iniinom, ganyan. So, so that one. Next is yung sabi ko na iinom lang ako ng OTC drug, okay na ako. So, hindi kasi minsan beses silang na nakita mo na yung pasyente, nakailang punta na siya sa butika na nagsi-self-treat. No? So, nandito naman po kami na to better evaluate you. Marami dyan na umiinom ng mga control ng acid, pero yung problema hindi naman pala acid. So, pagka kasi sinabi mong acid, we refer most likely sa stomach, sa portion ng small intestine. Pero hindi naman po lahat doon nanggagaling yung lahat po ng sakit sa sikmura. So maganda yung definition o ma-define o ma-confirm kung saan nanggagaling. And then another third na gusto ko i-debunk, Miss Kat, is this is interesting, no? Akala kasi tinatanim sa isipan ng mga mamamayan natin na ang bituka natin maitim. That's why maraming nagpo-promote ng mga kung ano-anong mga treatment na mga colonics, mga colonic therapy. Hindi po, no? Hindi maitim ang ating bituka at madumi. While it's true that it is it's a house for multiple bacteria, these bacteria are good, no? Merong good and bad bacteria kasi. So may population talaga, pero it does not cause darkening ng bituka po. So, hindi po totoo yun na maitim po ang ating bituka kapag marumi po siya. Definitely marumi siya kapag yung excreta natin o yung dumi ay maipasok sa bibig. Yun, maaaring mag-cause ng disease yun.
Okay, thank you for debunking those myths, Doktora. Habit pa naman ng mga Pinoy ang mag-self-diagnose, tama ka, mag-self-medicate, 'di ba? So, I'm telling all of you, just sitting across Doc Michelle, I feel her patience with explaining to us, no, answering our questions. And the procedure that she told us about, yung
upper endoscopy or gastroscopy.
Yes, so you can avail of that at Manila Doctors Hospital where you can see Dr. Chloa. Kasi nga, they are with you every step of the way, starting with this Health Vibe episode. Now with
madami din kami doon. Baka you can choose kung who do you like to see. Marami po kami sa section ng gastroenterology who practices clinical gastroenterology and digestive endoscopy, pati sa mga liver diseases. Yung upper endoscopy, hindi lang siya eh. So, ang tawag naman sa pagsilip sa malaking bituka is what we call colonoscopy.
Correct.
Yun naman yung for colon cancer detection, prevention, screening.
Yeah, I'm actually do that this year.
This year?
Yeah, this year. So, Doktora, okay, para dun sa mga swerteng nanonood na wala pang nararamdaman, no, at saka maayos sila kumain, siguro maayos ang lifestyle, ang tulog, di ba? How do we take care of our digestive tract? And why is this important?
Well, the best is still water intake, good water intake. You need to stay within your, a good guide really is 8 to 10 glasses. But it really depends on your weight. Kung halimbawa sobrang laki ka, you just have to, let me just put it this way. So, a good, better gauge would be, sabi ko sa water, no? So, if you're 50 kilograms, you just multiply that by 30. Ang requirement mo is about 1,500 ml per day. So, mga rough yun. And then another is good fiber content in the diet. So, you will know if you are a floater or a sinker. Let me explain that. So, pagka nagpoops po kayo at ang dumi ninyo ay bumabagsak, sa hindi nagpa-float sa water, ibig sabihin, kinukulang ka na ng fiber.
Okay.
So a floater is one who has adequate fiber intake. Floater, ibig sabihin po yung dumi kung nagpa-float po dun sa toilet bowl. No?
Okay.
Yan, and then, of course, good activity because it's good for motility or paggalaw po ng bituka natin. And then, to address yung mga magpapacheck, magpapa-blood chemistries because certain medical conditions also affects the digestive tract. Diabetes, thyroid, ganyan. So, magpapacheck po ng mga blood exams.
Opo, so yung annual physical exam, hindi talaga, dapat talaga annual.
Oo.
No,
kasi kalamihan yung yung sa blood exam mo lang mapipick up kung may anemia, kung mapipick up mo, kung meron na palang elevation ng liver enzymes.
Right, okay. Ano po yung pinaka-common na digestive tract diseases ng mga Pinoy? And how do you treat them at Manila Doctors Hospital?
Okay, so karamihan ng mga sakit ng Pinoy is tinatawag na group of diseases na functional GI disorders. Ito yung mga sakit na natitrigger ng stress, when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're galit, when you're pressured sa work. It manifests as yung what we call hyperacidity, sa layman, sa amin, tawag namin functional dyspepsia. It can also cause GERD, no? O yung gastroesophageal reflux disease. It can also cause yung pag-akit ng acid na nararamdaman natin. Or it can also cause IBS, no? Irritable bowel syndrome, which can manifest as either constipation, diarrhea. Marami din sa kababayan natin ang merong hepatitis B. No, so it's an epidemic in the Philippines. Marami din ang may fatty liver na nadidetect lang if we do ultrasound. Marami din ang may gallstones. And then of course, dumadami na rin po yung may colon. Madami na rin po, hindi po lahat dumadami. Madami po tayong colon cancer.
Paano po kaya sila maiwasan, Dok? Kasi for example, uso sa ating mga Pinoy, yung nasa lahi namin yan eh. Pero may pag-asa pa ba yung younger generations to avoid or stop it in the family? 'Di ba?
So meron pong tinatawag na modifiable risk factors, no?
Okay.
So diet and exercise, and then avoid vices, no? Smoking, too much alcohol, and then vaping especially, no? Uso ngayon ng vape eh. So dami napapahamak. So, ayun nga. So, these are modifiable risk factors. Your weight, you're able to control that. Pero yung genetics kasi minsan, ito yung aspeto na hindi natin makontrol. No? Hindi natin makontrol yan. So, if you have a strong family history ng halimbawa ng mga cancers, then maganda na nagpapatingin po kayo.
Gawin na yung due diligence. No, we want to empower patients to take their health into their hands, right? To be proactive, no?
Right.
Kesa yung reactive po, yung may nararamdaman ng sintomas, 'di ba? And kung may nararamdamang sintomas, wag po kayo magpunta kay Dr. Google. Punta po kayo sa ospital, kontakin niyo yung doktor ninyo, no? Let's talk about the hospital, no, Manila Doctors. Kasi I, as a patient, am particular with the ambience.
Yeah.
But I do not come from kasi baka ma-misunderstand ako na it's a place of privilege, na I only go to private hospitals. No, if I have to, I go to public hospitals too, right? But there's something about the ambience of a hospital that affects patients in the sense na, does it make us feel safe? Kasi, di ba Doc, hindi ko alam if you agree, I'm speaking as a patient, na-experience ko yung takot ako magsabi sa doktor ng lahat ng ginawa ko or na malakas ako uminom. Example lang po, di ba? Kasi pagpasok ko pa lang ng hospital, parang scary na, di ba? Parang ayoko na lang malaman. But tell us about the ambiance of Manila Doctors. We're talking to those who've never been because we want to encourage them to come visit.
Manila Doctors Hospital, kasi bahay ko na to, if you mentioned kanina sa introduction ko, di ba?
Correct. May loyalty award.
When I graduated from med school, I stayed here already. So it's really a modern hospital but yet welcoming. No, you won't feel that you are not, you won't feel uneasy when you enter. Yun ang sinasabi lagi ng mga patient namin.
Apa.
You just need to connect with the reception if you don't have a doctor in mind, and then they will connect you with your with regards to your complaint. No?
Right.
So I would say Manila Doctors is very modern. Try nyo. It's you go and see Manila Doctors and hindi siya amoy ospital. So,
okay.
Yeah. And very professional po yung mga tao.
Okay. Speaking of fear, Doktora, so we have a culture of fear when it comes to doctors kasi I think, or I speak for my generation, yung Gen X, pinalaki tayo na, sige ka, dadaling kita, di ba? Pag nagme-misbehave ka, ginagamit na panakot ang doktor, ang police, ang security guard, di ba? So, para bang, siguro it's culture of fear and maybe because of our religion, right? Maybe there's a culture of shame to tell doctors everything, the truth about our lifestyle and our choices. What would you tell patients so that they can be brave and open to their doctor? For example, they come to you, di ba? Ayaw talaga niya ng gulay or malakas talaga siya uminom or nagve-vape talaga siya. Pero kumbaga mawala yung takot or hiya na alam niya kailangan talaga niya ikwento lahat.
So, doon po pumapasok yung tinatawag na doctor-patient relationship. So, it always starts with interview. So, doon po namin nakikita yung history ninyo. It's also opportunity for the doctor to have a rapport or connection sa patient. So that the patient will be open to tell all. No? Kasi, ididirect ng doctor naman kung yung conversation din, no? And then so that mado-draw out yung lahat ng mga sinasabi mo. In fact, ang pinakamahirap na itanong dyan is yung mga patients who have been sexually abused or halimbawa who are in a homogeneous homosexual sexual relationships, mga ganyan. So yun yung mga mahirap para sa amin na itanong, but if we really need to ask, we really have to ask, and we just ask the patients to be just upfront about it.
Right.
And then what is also recommended is for patients, if you've been shopping, I do not recommend shopping for doctors, no. Dapat stick to one lang din. Because if you see multiple, halimbawa gastroenterologist, galing ka na sa 5 gastro, umirmi ka naman kasi hindi magiging tuloy-tuloy yung paggagamot sa'yo.
Correct. At saka para yun nga, matrack yung progress ng iyong health for you to become healthier.
Precisely.
Right?
Precisely.
Okay.
But it does not mean we disregard second opinion. It's just that as much as possible, you maintain the connection and rapport and relationship to your doctor who will guide you every step of the way.
Yeah, the rapport and the trust.
And the trust.
The trust.
Is built.
Right. Doc, may question ako. Bigla lang siyang dumating habang nagkukwentuhan tayo. I see a lot of ads on social media ng mga supplements na pampapayat, di ba? Pero hindi ini-explain kung paano. Mga coffee na nakakapayat, di ba? At saka di ba nauso sa ako Gen X, nauso sa nanay ko na boomer, yung mga herbal tea na laxative, di ba? But it makes me wonder, up to what extent or when does it become abuse? Yung kasi it's on the shelves when you go to pharmacies they're on the shelves, you don't have to get them from a pharmacist.
Minsan wala sa shelves, nasa multi-level marketing, and you wonder why are they not in the mainstream pharmacy, di ba?
Yeah, your comment please on that.
Yeah, so precisely it's always nice sa mga nakikinig po, alamin niyo po ano yung source, sino ba tong nasasalita. And then, ano ba yung nire-recommenda? Aprobado ba yan ng mga regulators natin? Kasi yung mga regulators natin, ang purpose niyan is maging safe ka. Diba? So, kung wala siyang approval sa mga regulators natin, hindi siya nire-recommenda ng mga medical professions, and mag-isip po kayo. And then, second, yung sabi mo kanina, yung mga herbal tea na pampadumi. So, these are usually Senna-containing na safe naman for patients with constipation. The purpose is to address yung hirap sa pagdumi, not to address weight loss. Not to address weight loss.
Okay.
Yun. So, trusted source lang po, and then you just have to, hindi po nakikinig lang sa mga, kasi, actually, yung problema namin is yung, halimbawa, cancer na diagnose na siya, tapos so meron ng treatment plan, tapos maya-maya, merong kaibigan, kakilala na sabi, yung ano ko, hindi na nagpa-chemo, ganyan, kasi nalaga, tinakot na. So, nadi-discourage yung patient. So, sana hindi. Supportahan po natin yung mga recommendations ng doctor natin, especially for cancer patients, kasi humahaba po talaga yung buhay ng mga pasyente. Kesa yung nagka-alternative po sila.
Opo, maybe it's good to share eventually po yung mga patient stories. Yes. Successfully treated patients, who worked with their doctors, in their treatment. Okay. My second to the last question, Doc. We hear the expression, the gut. I feel it in my gut. The gut is the second brain. And now, because of a documentary on Netflix, the gut microbiomes na friends natin, di ba? How important actually is the gut or our digestive tract to the whole body. Parang down to the tiny toe. Alam mo yun, how is it connected talaga?
So, as I mentioned, the gut is the entryway into your system. So, it's a source of our nutrition. It also source of our, it also has a function immunomodulation. Kaya niyang palakasin o pahinain ng ating resistensya. Depende din dun sa kinakain natin at saka sa population ng organisms natin. They've been found out.
Our friends.
Yeah, we have friends there, no? Yeah. So, that's why ngayon we see a lot of probiotics left and right, and they have a role in gut health. So there is also what we call brain gut axis, no? So whatever our emotions are, it affects the digestive tract. I liken it kung halimbawa nasa public speaking and it's your first time to talk in the front of an audience. Di ba sabi natin, oh, I have butterfly in my stomach.
Right.
Because your gut is reacting. No? So, lalo na ngayon in the era of fast-paced living, no? And then stressful din yung mga, lalo na yung mga gamers, those who are at work, multitasking. So, the gut is really affected. And then also, because we are also in a developing country, I would say that actually, ang sasabihin ko sana mapamayaman, mapamahirap, ang mga sakit sa digestive system is pare-pareho lang.
Correct.
Kahit na po bulati yan. So, it does not spare anyone.
Right.
Ganun.
Yeah. Well, health is a great equalizer.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what your status in life is.
Correct.
We all get sick of the same diseases, actually.
Yes.
Right? Doc, it's been a pleasure discussing about gut health, gastrointestinal tract health with you. To close our episode, what is your message to our viewers about gut health, its importance, and why they should consult a doctor when they feel or observe symptoms?
Thank you, Ms. Kai, for this opportunity to talk about gut health, no? And open up the minds na mga nakikinig natin that consult with your gastroenterologist for your digestive health is important because we are here to make sure that you live well and live long, no? To be able to advise you better on what you're feeling in terms of symptoms, lalo na yung mga frequent abdominal pains. Then, of course, we need to direct also or address also if you have modifiable or treatable diseases, no? Na kaya namang gumutin, or also detect na chronic diseases that can be managed so that we will be able to prevent complications. So, salamat sa opportunity na to have a spotlight on digestive health because your gut is a healthy gut is a healthy life as well.
Agree. Thank you so much, Dr. Michelle Cloa of Manila Doctors Hospital, with you every step of the way. Stay tuned for our next episode with Manila Doctors. Until then, it has been educational even for me because I represent the patients, right? And all our fears, all the things that we feel in our gut, no, whether it's psychological or it's really physical. Ako po, ang masasabi ko po dyan, no, dahil nagkaroon po ako ng problema, hinimatay ako mag-isa. Syncopathic po kasi ako eh. And I had to take myself to the ER of the nearest hospital. And the recommendation of the IM, internal medicine doctor, na ER doctor that time, is to have my stomach, my liver checked. No? So I'm in the process of doing that right now. So everything happens for a reason. Nothing is a coincidence. Yes. We have this episode here at Health Vibe. And my wish is for all of you to be empowered and have the courage to go see your doctor when you have symptoms. It's good to listen to suggestions, but you're in charge of your health. Katawan po ninyo yan. Hindi po katawan ng tita ninyo na nagpa-treat sa ibang doktor, etc. Punta po kayo sa Manila Doctors Hospital, and then if you don't know where to go, like what Dr. Chloe said, approach the concierge, the reception, ask your question, do not be afraid. Until our next episode, this has been your host, Kai Magsanok. Be safe and stay well.